this can be a fresh topic for everyone. I can just help them understand in a very better way. Okay, so let me start with today's topic. So today's topic is electric vehicles, the future of mobility. So let me just switch off my camera to have more bandwidth, which is very much required. I will just put off my screen, and yeah, is the presentation visible to everyone? Can I just get a feedback?
Yeah, yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, okay, great. So electric vehicles, the future of mobility. So this topic itself is a very recent topic. It's a very engaging topic. It's a topic where which is very closely connected to one and all, since mobility is the very basic requirement of human being today. And coming after mobility is what are the current trends in the mobility and how we can adapt ourselves, how we can adapt our surroundings to this current trend, which is the electric vehicles. Electric vehicles is the next hot topic, or is the next profession wherein the engagements will be there more closely globally, and also from our Indian market perspective. So today I will be taking you through all the aspects of the electric vehicles, their designing, their future scope, the market trends which are currently present, and how we can tackle the limitations which we are having and the drawbacks which were there in the past. So let me take you through the slides. So what are the highlights of today's presentation? I have just collaborated them in one single slide. So firstly, we will go through the basic introduction of the electric vehicles, what electric vehicles exactly are, why electric vehicle. That is the big main question before us. We want to understand types of electric vehicles. What are the types of electric vehicles? What are the different configurations? What are the different architectures which are available for the electric vehicles? One second, I need to interrupt here. I just need a feedback. Madhav, can you just if my voice goes low, or if there is some issue in the connection, or some flaw in my voice, do let me know if there is some weak connection. Okay,
Yeah, sir, sure.
Yes,
so
sir,
that
sure.
the topic and the conversations goes smoothly, and all our participants can have a good absorption of all the things which I am going to explain in the future slides. And I there are few odd 50 slides. I will try to complete those within 1.5 hour time duration. But let me be frank. Let me tell you that the complete journey of this 1.5 hour, you will be enjoying, and you will be understanding what exactly the electric vehicle market scenario is as on today. So the types of electric vehicles, overview of the electric two wheelers, design, technology, and emerging trends. Since electric two wheelers is a thing like four wheelers, six wheelers, or buses, trucks, or trains, we are not that much close to those automobiles. But an electric two wheeler is something which you can ride, which you can afford, which you can buy and ride. Today rental apps are there, sharing bike sharing apps are there. So some way or the other, we all are going to encounter with the electric vehicles and electric two wheelers basically in our near future. So that's why the electric two wheeler, I am stressing more on that. So electric vehicle, Indian market scenario, the challenges in the Indian market, the government initiatives which are there for the customers to buy EV and to spread the word across, and the startups which are present in India as of now, and the future prospects of the electric vehicles. And the last and important point to all of us is like, for the students, for the freshers, professionals, and entrepreneurs, what are the opportunities that are currently available in EV? So yes, so coming to this next slide. Okay, so coming to the brief introduction. So electric vehicle is also called as EV, which uses an electric motor and for propulsion. instead of the traditional fossil fuels, igniting the engine and burning the fuel and uh, churning out that power through the crankshaft. So the EV, I can say that EV powertrain is exactly different from an conventional IC engine. So this is the basic change which an electric vehicle is bringing up. So the first electric vehicle was built late in 1830s and automobile in 1891. These are the images, adjacent images for your reference. And the electric vehicles are playing a vital role for changing the environment in and in coming 2 decades we will find these things in future. Okay, so why electric? So this is the main question of the hour, that why we are going for the electric vehicles. There are petrol vehicles available. There is still crude oil available on the planet. But why we are going for this electric vehicle? So first and foremost advantage is zero emissions while running. Yes, the word while running is because generating electricity, it is taking some or the in some or the other way we are having somewhere some fuels burned, somewhere some energy is converted, like we say that energy is neither created nor destroyed, it is converted from one form to the another. So while generating the electricity, yes, there are emissions, but while running there are no emissions, which is also an important thing. If you take an example of New Delhi, the vehicles, the because of the running vehicles, the emission is more in the atmosphere. So zero emissions while running is the major thing. It is not contributing to the pollution directly. Domestic electricity is used everywhere, and this is the only uh, way for the charging of this electric vehicle, and more pollution will be reduced with this. So low running cost is the next thing which is coming into picture. Like if you have an petrol bike with you, if you have an Hero Honda Splendor with you, the average cost of running per kilometer is around 1.5 rupees. And wherever you are having, if you have an electric scooter, you are having a 40 paisa per kilometer. So if you consider, like for a day, if you travel 50 kilometers, then your Splendor costs you around 75 to 100 rupees. In the same case, your electric scooter costs you only 20 rupees. So here there is a big cost difference of 60 rupees, and 60 rupees is, considering it for a month, 60 into 30, it's around 1800 rupees, or 1800 to 2000 rupees. It's a really big cost saving. So running cost is also low for this. Convenience, yes, electric vehicles are much more convenient. You don't have to search for the petrol pumps and get into the long queues to fill petrol into your vehicle. uh, you don't only you should have a good habit of charging your vehicle holistically on the daily basis. There is no vibration, there is no noise, it's lightweight, and there are many more advantages of it. So, and today's vehicles, they are coming more safer. They are more safer and more lightweight. So the maintenance also is low. Like petrol vehicles, all the time you have to, if there is some water entry into your carburetor, or if there is some, sorry, if there is some water entry into your spark plug, if there is some dust into your carburetor, you have to change your engine oil, you have to change the halogen bulbs, and there are lots sorts of things which you have to do the maintenance for your petrol vehicle. Whereas in electric vehicles, you need to do the charging uh, on a timely basis. That is the only thing which is required. And also there are tax benefits from the government. For manufacturers also there are tax benefits in bringing down the custom duty for the battery packs and all. And for the end customers, the GST has been reduced from 12% to 5%, and there is a subsidy of 10,000 per kilowatt hour output power of the vehicle. So if you buy an electric scooter of around 5 kilowatt, you get a 50,000 whooping subsidy on your vehicle. So if the vehicle is costing around 1.5 lakhs, you get the vehicle in only 1 lakh. So that much is the government subsidy. The vehicle, yeah, for 5 kilowatt propulsion power. Okay, so this is the main advantage. Okay, so coming to the types of the electric vehicles. So we are having the battery electric vehicles, hybrid electric vehicles, and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. So battery electric vehicles, we basically call them as pure EV. Means it's purely a battery pack present in your vehicle. The battery is getting charged, and one second, the battery is getting charged. There is a BMS which actually takes all the inputs of the battery, like the voltage, like the current in each cell, and the temperature of each cell is calculated, and based on that the thermal management is done for the battery, and in a systematic way the power is drawn to drive the motor and to run the wheels. So this is a pure EV. It doesn't have any IC engine propulsion. It doesn't have the support of IC engine. It's just purely working on a battery, a motor controller, and BMS system. And this is completely a shift from your IC engine vehicle to a pure EV vehicle. So this is called as a pure EV or battery electric vehicle. So Tata Nexon EV is a pure EV. Tesla Model S, Mahindra E2O, and Nissan Leaf. These are a few example of pure EV, pure electric vehicles. So these, there is no engine. The complete vehicles run on a battery. The lights, the internal air conditioner, everything runs on a battery. So your battery charge, whenever it is your battery uh, is getting depleted, you have to plug in and charge the battery, and then only you can drive the vehicle. So this is a specified range is there for these vehicles, and only charging is the option uh, to get the vehicle battery charged and get the vehicle running to the designed range. So hope you're clear with till this. I'm going ahead. In between, I'll take a small break for any queries, or we can take the queries at the end, as you guys say. Anything is okay for me. So the next thing is hybrid electric vehicles. So what is exactly an hybrid electric vehicle? So hybrid electric vehicle is having an engine supporting these batteries for running the vehicle. So in hybrid electric, there are uh, two types again. One is series hybrid, one is parallel hybrid. In series hybrid, you are having an engine which is uh, which is generating uh, energy. It is having, it is acting as a generator, like our generator, which is present in our home or our college campus and everywhere. The generator converts the AC into DC through a charger, and this DC is then provided to the batteries to charge them. The charger takes care of all the design and optimum charge values, the voltage, the current which is required for the batteries to charge, and the batteries get charged. And these batteries in turn provide the current and voltage to the electric motors, and the electric motors run the wheel. So this is a very simple explanation of how a series hybrid actually works. So here your end propulsion means your wheels get the power through the electric motors only, but only to charge the batteries you have an engine which is coming into the picture. So this engine is not a big engine as we have conventional car engines. This engine is a very small engine which is providing an optimum the optimum battery power which is required. That the engine is designed in the same way, in the similar way, and it is fitted into the vehicle. So this engine, again, we will say that we are putting this engine, and then why, what is the use of going for an electric then? But let me tell you that these vehicles were designed and developed initially. So all the drawbacks are taken care in the next gen vehicles which are present here. But yes, when you are on a highway or in the city, you go on batteries on, and on highway you go on engine. But this is just an autonomous thing, like engine comes into picture whenever the battery charge is going low. But yes, the combustion levels which are provided by the which are generated by the series hybrid vehicles are much less than that of the conventional IC engine vehicles. Yes. So this is a series hybrid and parallel hybrid. So what is exactly parallel hybrid? So parallel hybrid is something like your engine is also propelling the wheels and your electric motor is also propelling the wheels. So whenever you are in the city, you can just switch into an battery mode, or you can switch into the engine mode. So whenever you require more torque, or you are in the city and you want to have a cleaner drive, you can use the electric motors to propel the wheels, or wherever you are at the traffic signals or somewhere. And whenever you are on the highways, you can use the engine. So this is the uh, terminology which is aligned to this series and parallel hybrid. So these are few vehicles which are actually series hybrid. You can just go Google it out and just can study these series hybrid models: BMW i3 and Fisker Karma. And parallel hybrids are Toyota Prius. This is one of the pretty famous car in the. It's a Toyota is a Japanese brand, and in US it is more famous. And Honda Insight. Yeah, so these are the two vehicles which are coming into the series hybrid and parallel hybrid combination. Yeah, so plug-in hybrid vehicles. So this is the next uh, case here. Like plug-in, what is exactly plug-in hybrid? So plug-in hybrid is something like in the previous uh, hybrid electric vehicles, we have studied that there is no separate charging system or a charging port to the vehicle. You have the drawback of filling your petrol or diesel into the engine which is present on the vehicle, and use of engine was inevitable. But here in plug-in hybrid vehicles, you have an IC engine also, which is uh, which is propelling the wheels. Along with that, your battery pack can get charged with a charging port. You can plug it to the 230-volt AC supply, and you can charge the battery. And in this way, you have that flexibility of either using your IC engine whenever required, or you can have the flexibility of charging your vehicle at external charging points. So uh, this is a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. So Chevrolet Volt and Mitsubishi Outlander are coming into the category of plug-in hybrid vehicles. So yes, so these are kind of electric vehicles which are present into the market. Now I am coming to the specific topic of electric two-wheelers. So the thing to understand is, like, if you understand a small system, that can be a starter. Like, we have our main course and starters. So directly going to understand an EV automobile, like a big car system or a big an EV bus, it's very easy to understand an electric two wheeler, and then to go to the higher understandings. So I will just take you through the uh, electric vehicles, electric scooters, basically what are they and how the design and development of this electric scooters go on. So I will just take a short break here and understand. You can just type into the comment box and just let me know that till this, uh, how are the things? Means, have you got to know the things? Uh, Madhav, was I? clearly audible and was the presentation smooth? Means, please give me a feedback, guys. Like, I'm not too fast, right? The pace is good.
No,
Yeah.
sir.
Sorry, Ashish. Okay.
No issues. Your presentation was good.
Hello. Hello, sir. Are you audible? Hello.
Hello. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sir. Okay,
Uh,
fine.
okay.
We can
Okay. I'm
continue,
ready.
sir.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. So, why two-wheelers? So why we are focusing on two-wheelers basically? So in India, two-wheeler owners exceeds around 80% of the total count. Two-wheelers account three-quarters on road vehicles and contribute to 30% of the pollution. So major polluting contribution is from the two-wheelers. Electric cars will not have a short-term impact unless the volumes are increasing and there is more momentum in this region. And cost and traffic jams is also a bigger barrier uh, for four-wheelers and six-wheelers or eight-wheelers as compared to a two-wheeler. So two-wheeler is something which is very flexible to design, fast to design, very fast to capture the market. Time to market is short. You can, while making a four-wheeler, it takes around 3 to 4 years. In that 3 to 4 years you can have 5 6 models of a two-wheeler. So that is something from a manufacturing point of view is also a very good thing. Large scale charging infrastructure and its adaptation by public is a hard task. Yes, absolutely. For investors, two-wheeler is an attractive market. So advantages of an electric two-wheelers are its cost is low as compared to four-wheelers. Traffic congestion and commutation is an again a challenge. Uh, Parking. So parking is something is a major challenge in the cities which we all face. Like a two-wheeler, we can park anywhere, but we face problems while parking our four-wheeler somewhere. So shared commutation has started, like Bounce, Wogo. In Bangalore, we are having bike rentals like Bounce, Wogo. So this has become very common. So electric vehicles have started. The sharing has started. Ola is coming up with a big, giant shared commutation facilities in Bangalore and other parts of the country. So FAME 2 is a government subsidy plan, which I'm going to cover in the next slides. And the last and foremost is rising concern towards the environment. So if you see the graph on the left hand side right corner, that these are the electric scooters that currently we are in 2020. So till 2025, the number will be increasing very rapidly, considering the uh, smooth scenarios around. So yes, coming to the shortcomings of the past generation electric scooters. So there were many drawbacks in of the uh, on the previous gen electric scooters, like the the state of the technology, like the we were using lead acid batteries which were very poor in design. The energy density and the packaging was an issue, the range was an issue, uh, and the cost, charging time, life, maintenance, resale, gradient climbing, all these things were very difficult from a technology point of view. And today you see we have different kind of traction motors, we have lithium ion batteries, we are having good semiconductor technologies which are developed across, and that are really contributing to a good and strong technology around. So this the technology state was very poor in the past generation. Unorganized sector, yes. So there was no government subsidies, or there was no proper infrastructure around to absorb the electric vehicles into the market. So this was one big issue. And there were only two three brands, like there was Hero Electric, Yo Bikes, Kinetic Sonic. These were only the players there. And what was missing was an infrastructure miss. Like there was no support from the different stratas. Like there was no charging infrastructure presence. Like today, if you come to Bangalore, you are having the good charging infrastructure around. You have different charging stations supporting right from airport to the different parts of the city. So that was missing. And the most important thing which was missing was the brand, the brand impression, or an emotional connect with the brand. Like today we are very much connected with Bajaj, like we say Hamara Bajaj. Or today Ather in Bangalore has also become a good brand, and it is expanding. So the value which is added to the brand was not much in the previous days. So these were the shortcomings of the past generation e-scooters. So let me take you through this. So what has inspired the world to move to the electric vehicles? So global technology in customer reach means in around 1 lakh rupees, or 1.25 1 lakh 25,000, you are getting the best batteries which are available across the globe for an electric scooter. You get a best connectivity features, you get a good ride quality, you get fast charging infrastructure around you. There is a support, there is a security, there is a safety. Security means I can say that there is immobilization for the vehicle, wherein you can only go to the vehicle, you can only have the security of the vehicle in your hand. I hope you all know immobilization. Immobilizer is something which is an authentication key for the vehicle, wherein you only can have that key and you can unlock the vehicle. Safety, like the vehicle is having its own self diagnostics, which I will be coming into the next slides. Uh, there is a traffic analytics which helps you to understand that in the next at the next signal, what is the state of the traffic there. So these are the points of the global technology which can come into the customer reach. The easy and affordable system supply. So it's a clean and lightweight vehicle. The quality of the parts which are present there, right from the battery to the headlamp to the plastic parts which are there on the vehicle, that are of superb quality. Means earlier the technology or the testing facilities were not that much good, but today people take care of each and everything which is present on the vehicle. So it is easy to operate. It can be operated, means like electric scooters can be operated by men as well as women. It is lightweight and very smooth and very easy to run. The costs are lowering with the demand increase, and government subsidies are further supporting that. So limited development efforts, yes, absolutely. So as compared to an IC engine drivetrain, the e-drivetrain is very much flexible. This point I will cover in the next slide. Easy scalability, yes. So a same motor which is present on a scooter, that can be used for a motorcycle, a car, a bus also. Means that much scalability is present there for the on the vehicle. So the scalability is very easy. Like mm, like if you buy one battery pack, that battery pack can go into multiple locations or multiple vehicle models. So there, the costing and other things are taken care, and you get much more output than what you have invested into that. So battery can be used in range extensions and higher rating performances and all those things. So components, you get automotive proven components like today Bosch, Mahle. You take the name of an automotive company and you get the parts on the vehicle. So today Bajaj is using Bosch kit in their Bajaj Chetak. Ather is using high-end suppliers for motor manufacturing and motor control manufacturing. And yes, so with this easy scalability and limited development time, you get the fast time to market, which is there. So here the two cells which I have shown you are 18650 and 21700. These two are the cylindrical cells. So in this small packaging size, you get a good amount of energy density, which is very much required for your vehicle to have a good range and to support the maximum speed. So yes, so this is something which is really important. Like Samsung, LG, Panasonic, these are few companies which provide these cylindrical cells. There are two, three categories in this packaging. There are cylindrical cell, there are pouch cells, there are prismatic cells. So these are the two, three types, and according to the application, we are using these cells into the vehicle. So in two-wheelers, mostly the cylindrical cells are used to make a battery pack. And since this packaging size requirement is very less with this, and within a small package, which is a challenge for a two-wheeler, like you get a very small space on the vehicle. So within a small space, multiple cylindrical cells can fit, and you can get an optimum power out of the battery. So yes, so this is an important slide which I wanted to show you. This is an Ather Energy's Bangalore Experience Center. So in this experience center, uh, you can find the world-class facilities present here. Means if you go and visit an Hero or Honda showroom today, and if you visit an Ather Energy showroom today, you can get the difference easily. So there is this Ather Grid, which is a charging infrastructure generated by Ather Energy. And on your right-hand side, you can see this Ather data wall experience, data wall at the experience center. So what exactly is the data wall? So data wall is something is like you take the test ride experience on Ather 450, and this is a unique rider signature pattern generated by the GPS and the accelerometer present on the vehicle based on your braking, acceleration, the number of turns you are taking, the number of gradients you have come across, and based on this, it's an intersection is achieved uh, for the technology, physics, and art. So so this is something which is a really unique thing, and these trends are coming into the future. Like a small two-wheeler will have these much technological advancements and have analytics of your vehicle. So whenever you have some issue with your vehicle, you can easily get that what went wrong in your vehicle at what time, and because of this, what is the failure occurring on the vehicle. So this is something which is a very unique thing and which is really amazing. So yes, what are the types of electric vehicles, electric scooters? So in France, there is one Peugeot e-Ludix. This is having a swappable battery. Gogoro is again an electric scooter which is having a swappable battery. There are types of electric vehicles. The vehicles which are having the plug-in kind of thing, like on your vehicle itself, you have a charger, and that charger charges the battery into the vehicle. Otherwise, you are having swappable batteries, like you just you just go in the morning, you go to your office, and in the evening you come back home, you remove the battery, take to your home, charge it. In the morning, come back, put it back into the vehicle. It's like a suitcase. You put it back into the vehicle and you just go on. So here I would like to take a small break through this, and I would like to take you through some videos which are available with me. Just give me a second. Please bear with me. Uh, is the video visible to you guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just a second.
Hello, sir.
No audio.
Sir, are you audible?
Yeah, yeah, I'm audible. Tell me.
Yeah, sir. Video is not having audio, so we can't hear the sound.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay, no problem. So I hope the video was visible, right?
No, sir. There was some slowness in the video, was there?
Okay, okay.
Uh,
Maybe there might be some issues which were coming. I'll be sharing you the link of the this thing, my drive, wherein you can just have a look at the video also. So
yeah.
you can get everything there. So this is actually a video regarding this battery swapping stations by Government of India initiative with Sun Mobility and Indian Oil. So so this video is related to the same. So I will be sharing all the videos with you all. So there might be some issues with the video running because of the bandwidth issue and other things. So So let us come back on this slide. I'm sorry because I just wanted to take you out of this and just have some refreshment in between. So anyway, I will just continue. Mm. So I was at the swappable battery and the onboard charging of the battery. So there are two types of electric two-wheelers. One is having a swappable battery and one is having an onboard charging. So onboard charging is something like you have the charger fitted on the vehicle itself. You don't have to remove the charger or something. So there is other place wherein you have this. You have your like your mobile charger or your laptop charger. You are having a charger. This Revolt is one vehicle, one motorcycle which is coming up with this charger. The charger is externally fitted and you just plug into the vehicle and your battery gets charged. So this is again a DC charging uh, system. So classification of the e-scooters. So e-scooters are classified into two categories. One is L1E category and L3E category. Now the presentation and my voice are audible, right? There is no issue with my voice and presentation.
Yes, sir. No issue.
Okay, great. I'll continue. So there are two categories. One is L1E category and one is L3E category. So in L1E category, you are having the maximum speed of 45 kilometer per hour and your maximum power rating is less than or equal to 4 kilowatt. And in L3E category, there is actually no speed limitation, but based on the output power, the L3E category is categorized into L3E A1, L3E A2, and L3E A3. So you can just have a look that 11 kilowatt equal to or less than that is A1, less than or equal to 35 kilowatt is A2, and less than or more than 35 kilowatt is A3. So your uh, Bajaj Chetak or Ather 450 comes into the category of uh, L3E category, A1, L3E A1 category. The Yulu is one brand in Bangalore where Bajaj has invested, Yulu Electric. So if you can see it around in your cities also, if this has reached, this is a small electric vehicle, small electric Luna kind of a thing, which is coming with a max speed of 25 kilometer per hour and a speed range of around 25 to 40 kilometer. So this comes into the L1E category. Yeah, so coming basically to the important slide of the day, like this is the general architecture of an e-drive system. So this architecture is common across a two-wheeler, a four-wheeler, or a truck bus. Only few things are getting added, which specifically to the different systems are present. But overall, the architecture is kind of similar thing. So coming here, so you have a uh, 48 volt battery, you have an onboard charger or you have an offboard charger or you have this battery swappable. So this is the battery which is fitted into the vehicle, or you can remove this battery, get it charged outside and again put it back. So I have added here charger onboard, offboard. So and this 48 volt battery. Okay, so after this battery is powering this motor and motor controller which is propelling the wheels. So this is the I'm sorry, I couldn't add this thing. I could have added a wheels here. So you can consider this as a 48 volt motor, and motor itself is we can say it as a wheel or a tire is fitted onto this motor. So this is a 48 volt motor. Controller can be inbuilt or separate controller can be there. Okay. So what exactly the battery does is the battery provides us the power to the motor. Uh, there is a e-drive throttle. There is a throttle. You have a accelerator. We call it in our conventional language. Like whenever you are pressing you are accelerating your vehicle, the vehicle speed increases. In this similar way, you have a throttle built into this motor speed. The throttle is connected to your motor controller, and this throttle is actually it's mm, there are two types. One is your one is your Hall effect sensor, and the other one is your there is a resistor inside, and there is a change in the resistor, and this change converts in the voltage levels, and you get the output to your motor controller. So this is something, and yes. So there are few auxiliary things like this. There is a DC-DC converter which is converted your converts your 48-volt battery uh, output into a 12-volt output. This 12-volt battery is optional, or either it is present on the vehicle, or otherwise you have this converter, and this converter only supports your horns, light switches, your dashboard, your connectivity ECU if it is present, your diagnostic systems, your ABS unit on the vehicle which is present here. So this is something uh, a deep dive into this general architecture of the EV. So there are a few modes on your dashboard, like one is eco mode, one is power mode, and one is sport mode. So these three modes are present on the vehicle. In eco mode, you get uh, an optimum power but low torque, uh, or an optimum of both, means you get a maximum range but low power output. If someone is stating, if the vehicle range has 80 kilometers, then this 80-kilometer range is achieved in the eco mode. Means today everyone gives what is the range in each mode. So eco mode range is there, power mode range is there. In power mode, your power is maximum, your torque is less. So whenever there is a straight road, there is a plain road, you can switch to the power mode. And in sport mode, or in traction mode, which is there, you can climb the gradient easily. And yes, and these are the three modes on the vehicle. There is a TPMS. I will just come to the next slide wherein I can explain you the importance of the TPMS on the vehicle. So yes, so these are the components of the vehicle. There is a swappable
Hello,
battery,
sir.
yeah, yeah, tell me.
Yes, sir. Your voice is breaking.
Yeah, Madhav.
Yes, sir. Now it's audible.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay. So there is a smartphone app. From where I was breaking, shall I repeat my previous slide? Hello, hello, Madhav.
Yes, sir.
This slide, was it clearly audible, or shall I repeat the things again here?
Yes, sir. You can ask the participants. Participant, please
If you have any question,
tell.
I can do one thing. I can come back again to this slide. Okay. Okay. I was audible, right? I was properly audible for the previous slide. Okay. Okay, thank you. So coming back to this e-drive components on the vehicle, we have a battery, swappable battery. We have a hub motor or a central drive motor. Like this is a shaft-driven motor, and you have a proper belt arrangement, a gear system in which your wheels are connected to the central motor. You have a wiring harness. You have a charger. You have a next-gen smart dashboard, which is connected to the server, and many sorts of there are many things which are present as of now, but this is the basic architecture of the vehicle. So coming to the components of the e-drive system, so these are the basic components which are present. One is the hub motor. So this is the hub motor present on your vehicle. So hub motor is basically used for the power less than 3 kilowatt. So if you want a power above 3 kilowatt, you have to go for a central drive or a shaft motor. So these are the two shaft motors. This motor is used up to 4 kilowatt, or there are a few arrangements. So and this motor on the right hand side, it is designed for 11 kilowatt application. So according to your application, you can just choose the motors from the suppliers. So battery packs, so there are two battery packs. One is onboard battery pack, one is offboard battery pack. So this is a swappable battery pack, this blue color strip which is there. So this is the handle. You can just remove it, and you can just bring to your home, charge it, and put it back into the vehicle whenever you have to go back. So this is the throttle which I was telling you. So the first one was a potentiometer, and this one is a Hall effect sensor based. So Hall effect sensor based is more redundant. It is having two Hall effect sensors, and based on the power output, based on the output of the throttle, the output depends upon the angle which you are in which you are rotating your throttle. Based on that, it is corresponding voltage output is generated, and you get the values for the speed which is required for the motor. Yeah, so this is the VCU, or central control unit, vehicle control unit you call, central control unit you call. And this VCU connects your complete vehicle system together, and it is dependent for the basic operation of the electric vehicle. So what are the components, next components? So this is a smart dashboard which can be a screen touch, which can be a color display. It can be just like your mobile phone or your tablet, wherein it is connected to the internet via a GSM and a GPS system, and you can get connected to the external world. You can have Google Maps onto that. You can have all sorts of things. You can have an auto diagnostics. You can connect to the emergency contact number. You can have a smart helmet connected to that, where you can just listen to songs, warnings, and many sorts of things on the vehicle. You have a connectivity ECU, eh, also connected to the vehicle. There is a smartphone app which is present on your mobile phone. There is this wiring harness. There are two types of harness: one is signal harness, one is power harness. So these are a few things. So so the connected network which is present on the electric vehicle is, you can get connected to the cloud system. You can remotely lock unlock the vehicle from your mobile phone. Traffic data can be accessed, like I said, Google Maps. You can get the live traffic update in the next signal itself. You can have a self diagnostic system wherein you can get to know what is present on the vehicle and how it has to be handled. There is a hotline service. If you have some issues, you can just connect to the hotline. And there is a support system wherein your factory and your maintenance team which is there, you can connect them on the support system, and you can get the support to the vehicle. So this is something which is very unique, a very different kind of platform, uh, as compared to the conventional IC engine or petrol vehicles which are there. So these are a few apps which are there, like this is the Ather 450 app, wherein you get to know how much kilometers you have driven, what is the current battery state, and all sorts of things. So ride statistics which is there. There are things like you get to know the ride analytics, how many kilometers I have driven, what were the gradients, and many things are there into that. So one can go and check, have a test ride and check all these things. So what are the charging stations available in the vicinity? If your charge is very less and you have to charge your bike, you have to have a fast charging for the vehicle, you can just take this up. So this is for Revolt, Gogoro, and Zero is another electric bike. So so these are few apps. Mm, So, what are the options in your apps? So, immobilization is one thing I told you. Tracking. If you are a fleet owner and if you are having 5,000 vehicles, it's very difficult to track the vehicle and monitor the status of the battery, monitor the status of the condition of the vehicle, where is the location of the vehicle. So tracking and monitoring is something which is a different wing of the customer services which are provided by the app. Geofencing is something like, if you are having a fencing for the vehicle, if you want your vehicle to run in some particular area, and if it's going beyond that area, there is some theft or something happening, you can get it on the warning signal. You can have a secure parking, like the vehicle is having an accelerometer. So if someone tampers with your vehicle, you can just get to know on your mobile phone. Trip analysis, battery information, service reminder, insurance reminder, lead me the direction of the vehicle. From your mobile phone, you can just press a single button and you can just go to the vehicle. This is something. How much is the speed logged? or some alerts of the vehicle. So these are few things. Okay, so coming to the further slides, future technologies. So what are the future technologies in the EV? So there is artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, cloud maintenance, and pro diagnostics. So these four five things may seem something very high fundu or very mm, very different from the topic, but yes, these things are coming into picture. Like the complete sensor data, the GPS data, the GPS data, wherever you are accessing all the vehicle information and you are generating the data, the data which is very useful. It is not just rubbish data which you are using. There is some value to that data which will help uh, predict the OEMs regarding the testing of the vehicle, regarding the problems which are faced by the vehicle, and uh, uh, the support can be achieved. Much more support can be achieved with based on this. So this is something like we all might have seen the Spider-Man movie, where before dying, Uncle Ben on the streets of New York, he just gives some important advice to Peter Parker. Like, remember, with great power comes great responsibilities, right? So yes, so if you are having a great power of your electric scooter, there again comes a great responsibility of having a good customer experience. So a customer delightful experience is achieved only with the current technologies which are present there. So AI and machine learning are the important tools which will help to support the customer and the product on a very much deeper level. And yes, so these are the future trends which will help us. So, what is the unique difference between an electric two-wheeler and a petrol two-wheeler? So, range and driving patterns are the different things. Like the driving modes which are there, eco, power, sports mode, and the new mode which has come up is a wrap mode. So, the rider weight, driving habits, and terrain conditions matter for an electric scooter. Like in petrol vehicle, these things were not a point of matter. But yes, your range is decided by your driving habits, your weight, and the if you are having 4 to 5 over bridges in your way, then your range will be very less as compared to a normal plain road. So this is because your motor uh, absorbs more power to overcome the gradient which is there for the roads. Telemetrics was not supported in petrol vehicles, so telemetrics is a basic requirement of electric two-wheeler, wherein you can get warnings to avoid the flyovers or the rough terrains. LED lights are there, which are reducing the uh, power again and giving more brightness to you in the darkness. So advanced gadgets are easily embedded to the electric two-wheelers. Since the whole DNA is electronic, all the advanced gadgets or the software things, the firmwares can get accommodated easily on the EVs as compared to the IC engine vehicles. Okay, so this is something there. So I will just go through the tire pressure. So tire pressure has an impact on the vehicle. Like you have an impact of say suboptimal tire pressure and adverse impact on the rolling resistance of the vehicle. So uh, if your tire pressure is less, then you have low range. Your range is directly affected with the slow tire pressure. So tire pressure is something has to be monitored, and with this tire pressure monitoring, a good range can be achieved. So this is something. So what are the challenges of the EV? So packaging limitation is something there. Uh, we have a very small space available, and we have to embed all the things onto the small space. So packaging is something there. EMI, EMC is other big animal. Like you design a proper vehicle, you design the vehicle completely, you put all the power electronics and all the other things in a proper way. But yes, instead of that, you have EMI EMC is a noise. It's an electrical noise. If those who don't know EMI EMC, EMI EMC is something which is a electrical noise which is present. uh, IP rating. IP is something that water entry into the electrical electronics components. Uh, Essence, water is a good conductor of electricity. Uh, Whenever water enters into your electronic items, they get damaged. Take an example of your phone itself. If water enters into your phone is corrupted. So standby duration is something, if you are going on a vacation, if your battery is drained out, how much duration that battery can be in a good state. So that is one challenge. Charging infrastructure. Charging infrastructure is something, if you are going onto the road and if your vehicle is stranded somewhere, you should get, like if you get a small pin, chote pin ka charger, you have na, you have your C pin charger today for your smartphones. So it is available everywhere. Every the next person is having a C-pin charger. So the charging infrastructure is something which has to get common and available everywhere. And the foremost thing from a buyer's perspective is the cost. So yes, these are the basic challenges. Across the globe, we have e-ludex from Peugeot. We are having an Electrica, this Vespa Electrica is one vehicle. We were having this Mahindra uh, Gen Z. So Gen Z was a vehicle which was there in US and Europe. So these are the electric scooters around the globe. And in India, Ather 450 is X is now launched, and very soon the first lot will be delivered to the customers. So Bajaj and KTM is planning an EV platform for Chetak and many more companies. And Yulu is one sharing company, ride sharing app, where Bajaj has also invested a lot. So Ola Electric has augmented Ertigo. Bajaj KTM is developing a range of electric scooters, and there are few other companies which are coming up for charging infrastructure and battery technology development. So government encouragement is finance options, battery subscriptions, changing the mentality of the customers, making more awareness from an clean energy point of view, swappable battery, and the 10K subsidy, which I have already explained you. So yes, coming to the basic important slide where I want to spend some time and I want your attention more on this. What are the opportunities in the electric vehicle industry? So from an engineering development point of view, if you are if you are a core hardware engineer, if you have done your BTech or MTech in electronics and telecommunication, electronics and instrumentation, electronics and computer system, you can have a good scope with the hardware design for the electric vehicles, like motor controller, battery management system, the dashboard, the instrument cluster of the vehicle. So these are few things. If you have a good hold on hardware, you can also design the battery packs. uh, the electromechanical engineers, the electrochemical engineers, the people who are having a good knowledge of thermodynamics, the mechanical engineers can have a good scope with the battery design, motor design, and component selection. So people having a good understanding or a background of electronics, they can be good at architecture design. And mostly mechanical engineers can get a good scope with the packaging of the components on the vehicle, the integration thing. And today, in the automotive industry or in the EV industry, software design and development has become a big part and parcel. Without software design, firmware design, we cannot go anywhere. So harness design is also something which is important, which is connecting the complete. This is the nervous system of the vehicle. Harness selection and harness design is something is very important. If one wire gets cut in the vehicle, the whole vehicle gets stranded at a single place. So harness should be very much robust in that case. So harness design is something important. Vehicle design, industrial design, brakes, suspension design. These are coming as a mechanical side of the vehicle, and that are also very important, like selection of the material, low cost material, and all those things. So lighting design, so optics, electro optics, material selection, and testing is also forming a big area. So testing is something which is very important. The virtual testing, the CA engineers are also required for this. So opportunities in the industry are manufacturing, IoT, customer data analytics, manufacture, managing charging infrastructure, and service support. So these are few slides which you can go through, like business to business and business to customer thing. Like you can have a charging station, like a petrol pump. You can just uh, rent your space. If you are having some space at a very convenient location, you can just start your own charging infrastructure, install charging station, or swappable battery stations, and so on and so forth. So fleet management, you can have your own, you can buy 500 vehicles, 500 electric scooters, and keep it at some metro station and rent them. So this is something which is a new trend, new business, which is an opportunity. So these are few things, EV market opportunities in India and outside India, challenges in the EV industry. Few of them I have gone through. You can go through these things, the government initiatives which are there, FAME 1, FAME 2, and the NEMMP plan. So NECM and NEMMP plan. So, so the major electric startups which are present there are Ather Energy, Yulu, Ola Electric, Battery. Battery is for the electric scooter and electric three-wheeler, Smart e-rickshaw, e-trio, and yes. So these are few things. So these are the video links which I have, which I want you to go through. Since I cannot play the videos in a very good quality, you can just go through. I have few vehicles with me, few links with me, which I will be sharing with Madhav, and he will be sharing with you on the WhatsApp group. This will be helpful for you to go through and just refer these links. So this is my mail ID, my mobile number, my uh, LinkedIn, this thing, LinkedIn profile. You can just search and follow me. Uh, I hope this session was good. This session was helpful to you. Uh, I just want to take up your questions. So you can unmute yourself, and we can go through the question answer round. We can quickly wrap up with your questions. I can try to answer you, and we can. First of all, let me know, was this session useful for you? Was this session good? Was it informative? Was it good from the uh, from your perspective? Because whatever the expectations Madhav has shared with me, I went through those, and uh, I've tried to get things within 1.5 hour session. There are few limitations. I just went through the overview of the electric vehicles. I cannot go into the deep dive thing, but yes, I tried to give you a gist of what exactly is present in the these things in a very overview thing. So so you can just unmute yourself and just ask questions. Madhav, can you just help me to get this activity done?
Yes, sir, sure, sir.
Have
Yeah,
you
participants can
captured the
shoot.
questions, or we can ask the participants right away to ask the questions?
Yeah, sir. So there were some doubts before on the chat box.
Okay, I'm
Uh,
sorry, since I was taking
yeah,
up the presentation, I couldn't see. Uh,
yeah.
okay, so
Yeah, there was one
Hiba.
doubt, sir, from
Okay,
Pretty.
Okay.
What are the batteries used in electric vehicle? It is lithium ion or lead acid. And what are the disadvantages?
Okay, okay. So lithium ion was something which was used in the earlier days. Lead acid was something which was used in the previous days, and today also in our conventional IC engine vehicles we are using the lead acid batteries. The drawback of the lead acid batteries is what what energy a small lithium ion cell can capture uh, is the sizing or the energy density in technical language I can say the energy density of a lead acid battery is is less than that of a lithium ion battery. A small lithium ion cell can capture that much energy which a big lead acid battery can capture. So this is something, a size is the thing which matters. Safety is also one thing. If lead acid battery bursts out, then there are safety issues. Wherein lithium ion batteries, the safety is somewhere captured. And let me tell you that these battery cells are some someone like Samsung, LG, or this Panasonic are giving cells, and there are companies which are just dedicatedly manufacturing the battery packs as per the requirement. So the safety, the temperature management, the thermal management, and the optimum power output which is required that is captured. That is really very easy going with a lithium ion battery than the lead acid battery. So this is the answer to your question.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So there was another question from Devika. Can we make use of ultra capacitors instead of batteries? How much is it promising?
Okay, ultra capacitors is somewhere they are getting used uh, in buses, electric buses, so that the the instant the instant energy is being provided to the uh, motor. But yes, in two wheelers, the ultra capacitors are not getting used as of now. But yes, in four wheelers and the higher range vehicles, ultra capacitors are being used. But the only thing is they have to be properly managed for the power output and the safety, which is again a part and parcel of the design. So if properly designed, we can have a use of these ultra capacitors. Okay. Next question, please.
Okay, sir. So another question from Hariharan is, can we use solar panels instead of frequently charging the batteries?
Of course, there are few automobiles which are using solar panel also. But yes, solar panel is something that can be used in a bus or a truck majorly. But in a four wheeler or a two wheeler, there are issues of using a solar panel. The more surface you get, the more output is generated, and solar panel is something. Solar panel can be used more efficiently at a charging station than on a vehicle, I can say. So wherever you are charging your vehicle, wherever you are having a proper charging stations, there instead of using the conventional electricity, you can use the solar panels, and there we can go for a clean energy instead of going with the conventional energy. So this is solar panel can be used at the charging stations instead of using it on the two wheelers or four wheelers, because the cost of converting the solar energy into the energy or into the power requirement of a EV, it is a very big thing. The the inverters, the generators, and the electronics, which is the power electronics which is there in between, that is taking much space and much weight. So it is not much feasible for a low end vehicle. Okay, so next question, please.
Okay, sir. Another question from Shaiju is, when can we expect either to other parts of India, especially Kerala?
Okay, so I think Aether is. I'll just keep my slide open, my mail ID, my LinkedIn profile, and my mobile number, so people can the friends can get linked with me whenever they requires. Okay, so good question. So Aether has started expanding to different parts of the country. So there are 10 cities in which Cochin, I think Cochin is the the city wherein you can find the movement in few days. Because of this COVID situation, there were some limitations. But yes, in near future, Cochin is the next hub where Aether is will be having its dealership, and you can just go and visit. Uh, and there are a few parts like Pune, Mumbai, Hyderabad, uh, Kolkata, Delhi. So these are few places where Aether is putting its feet. So yes, next question, please.
Okay, sir. One
And
question from
one
the
more one thing to add.
ah
Bajaj
yeah.
Chetak has also like this development is going into phases. Like Bajaj Chetak has also its outlet only in Pune and Bangalore. Bajaj Chetak has expansion plans, but as in today, uh, apart from Pune and Bangalore, there is no dealership uh, as in today's date. Okay, next question.
Yes, sir. Okay, one question from Deepak is there any power quality issues in the power grid when more EV charging stations come?
No, if the distribution is properly balanced, properly managed, if the programming is properly done to have if the distribution system is good, then there is no issue in the power grid. I don't think there will be an issue.
So another question from Siddhik was which type of motors are used in electric bike?
Okay, so in electric bike, I've told you that for a scooter which is having less than 3 kilowatt of power, there is a hub motor, the motor which is uh, inbuilt into the wheels that is used. And for the power requirement more than 3 kilowatt, we use a central drive motor or a shaft motor, we can commonly say as a shaft motor, where motor is placed somewhere at a different place. And like your chain drive system, here is it is a belt drive system. So your motor is connected to the wheel via a belt and via a pulley, a drive pulley, a driven pulley, and a gear system. So these are the two types of motors which are used in the electric two-wheelers.
Okay, sir. So another question from Preeti
Okay,
was
okay. One more thing. Like that is a BLDC motor. Hub motor is again a BLDC motor, and these uh, shaft motor is a three-phase or a five-phase AC motor. Okay, so these are the synchronous AC motors that are used in. To be more specific to the question. Okay, next question, please. Sorry.
okay, sir. What are the advantages of ultra capacitor?
Okay, I haven't had much experience with ultra capacitors, but yes, ultra capacitors are having. If you need an instant power rev up, means if you need a fast charging, if you want to charge your vehicle on a faster basis, your ultra capacitors have the capacity to uh, capture a charge within a few time frame, within a short time frame, and then it can properly provide charge to the battery. I may be wrong. I don't have much experience with the ultra capacitors. I can just offline, if you can just share this question with me, I will be able to give the answer to you after going through that. Okay.
Okay, sir. So another question from Hiba is it possible to convert whole vehicles completely to electrical? How long it is possible?
I didn't get the question. Means you are saying that you are retrofitting, you're removing your IC engine and you are putting a battery and a motor, right?
Yeah,
I'm
Hiba, can
I
you please confirm your question? Yes, sir. It is what she meant.
what I said that is right.
Yeah, sir.
Okay, so it's very difficult as of now because based on the packaging, the sizing, and the other things, you cannot convert your vehicle directly into an electric vehicle. It will be a troublesome job. So and it's not advised also because of the chassis which is present on the vehicle. There are multiple modifications required in this vehicle. So I don't think it is advisable to convert the current existing vehicle. You can buy a new electric vehicle and you can just sell out your petrol vehicle. Okay.
Yeah, another
Okay.
question from Preeti. What are the types of power electronics converters used in vehicle, and what are the requirements for a converter to be integrated into electric vehicle?
Okay. So power electronic converters that are again power electronics is used only in motor controller and I think only in motor controller. But I'm sorry, I don't have much understanding on the power controllers. I've worked on an integration point of view much rather than the hardware or the design point of view. So I'm sorry, I can give the answer to your question offline. Preeti, your another question is regenerative braking is possible. Yes, currently there is around 8 to 10% of regenerative braking present in today's vehicle. But yes, the regenerative braking can increase based on the number of tests and number of drive cycles which your vehicle can cover. Okay.
Okay, sir. Another question from Sri Lakshmi. How many kilometers or recharges does the battery last for?
Okay, so basically the battery can go up to 80 kilometers in the eco mode, in power mode actually. In eco mode, the vehicle can go up to around 100 to 110. I'm talking this for a uh, mm, 3 kilowatt, 3.3 kilowatt hour battery. So it may vary, like for Bajaj Chetak, for TVS iQube and Ather, based on the battery packaging and the range calculation, these things are different for different vehicles. There is a calculation going behind this. So yes, so yeah.
Okay, sir. Another question from Atul. Nowadays, what are the major opportunities in as a mechanical engineer in EV section?
Okay. I think I have covered that point. I don't know, but yes, just a second. I will just go back to the slide which wherein I had shared the opportunities. Okay, so as a mechanical engineer, you
Hello,
can have a vehicle design
hello, sir. Your voice is not audible.
and hello,
Hello, yes,
hello.
the voice was breaking, sir.
Okay, okay, no problem. So,
Yes,
as a
sir.
mechanical engineer, there are many opportunities. There are opportunities like you can have virtual testing, you can have a virtual CAE testing, wherein you can have the thermal simulations for fatigue analysis. You can have
Hello,
the power required, and based on the reverse engineering, we can design the parts that way. So there is a big scope
hello,
for
sir.
mechanical engineer in the electric vehicles. It's this. Am I audible?
Hello.
Am I audible now?
No, sir.
Hello.
Your voice was breaking.
Okay, no
Uh,
problem.
yeah,
Can we take the last question, please? You can ask me the questions offline on my mail ID.
yeah. Okay, sir. Another question was, what about the maintenance cost of e-vehicles?
The maintenance cost as of now is actually 0 rupees. If you have a proper subscription plan, there are also subscription plans in EV, like you have a subscription for your Amazon or Netflix. You can have a subscription plan for the EV wherein your battery packs, after a particular time period, they will be replaced by the company. If you have a subscription plan of 1 month, like 1,000 rupees per month, if you pay to the company, the complete diagnostics, the
Hello?
complete repairs, and the complete battery. Hello, hello,
Hello, sir, your voice is
hello.
not.
There is some range problem. We can just wind up. Yeah, there is some range issue. Hello,
Yeah,
hello,
okay, sir, okay.
hello, hello. I can just support offline for the other issues. I think I'm done with the presentation, and we can take the questions
Yeah,
offline.
okay. Okay, sir, okay.
Thank you.
Participants, if there is any doubt, you can post them in the email ID of the speaker. Yeah,
Okay. Hello.
yeah, I'm there. You're audible.
Sir, on behalf of Events Connect and my own behalf, I extend a very hearty gratitude to the speaker, Mr. Omkar Harshan Digale, sir, for sharing your knowledge and experience through today's session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Um, and I also wish to express my gratitude to all the participants of this webinar for supporting us throughout. Thank you all. Thank you guys. Keep supporting us. To get updates on the upcoming webinars and other events, check on our Instagram page. The link will be provided on the chat box.
I just wanted to share one point. You can just connect with me offline for any query or any session, anything required for your institute or anything. I am welcome to you all. So we can discuss offline for any requirement as such for EV, specifically to EV, whatever is there. Thank you.
Okay.
So thank you for the opportunity.